again, folks. I was going to wait to sort of do this second podcast because I wasn't feeling particularly well today. My back's hurting quite a bit, but I thought, well, actually, it's probably the good time to do it because one of the reasons that I changed to a lighter pack and that I set things up the way I do is because of the back problems. I try and get as much walking as I can, and I'm probably in a bit of pain now because I haven't got out the last couple of weeks. So it's actually pretty relevant. So I may as well just keep going and see how we go. So as I said in the last video, what I wanted to do is just give a quick overview of the way I set my pack up, because it's a little bit different to what I normally see on the track. With the weight that I do carry, I want to sort of distribute it appropriately so that when I'm walking, I'm as comfortable as possible. I put as little strain on my body as possible, and with that approach, I can travel a lot further and get the exercise that I need. I certainly wouldn't be able to travel very far at all if I was using a heavy pack. Certainly not with my back the way it is now. So I'll look at what I do and how it's a bit different to what most people do, even most ultralight people. And what I'll do later in the video is I'll go through and I'll set up my new pack, my new Mountain Laurel Designs Burn, using the approach I've been using with my current pack, and show you some of the different features and that, some of the pockets and that I got from overseas, and why I configure things the way I do. Anyway, first things first, there are a number of different ultralight packs out there. I went for the Mountain Laurel Designs Burn after reviewing a number of different packs, so whether it was worth changing or not. And one of the reasons for this is that it does have a decent hip belt, particularly the new version, which has got this padded hip belt. I wouldn't go for a completely hip beltless pack, and one of the reasons for that is that when I'm out doing day hikes, I have a camera bag which actually doesn't have a hip belt. And one of the things I've found is that without a hip belt, my back gets a lot more painful during the day with this small pack than it does with my full hiking pack. So I can have 12 kilos or so in my hiking pack and my back is perfectly fine. So going without a hip belt just isn't going to work. What I find with the Burn, I can transfer weight onto my hips, so that's important. Even though people say, oh, you need a frame on the pack to transfer weight, I've found that you don't. As long as you've got a hip belt, and as long as you pack your pack appropriately and use a few other techniques, you can get away without a frame in the pack. I have actually used an ultralight pack with a frame before. I had a Zpacks pack a while back, but I haven't really found that the frame is that necessary. I find my shoulder straps can actually be quite loose while I'm wearing the Burn, even with quite a bit of weight in it, and the weight is sitting on my hips, which for my back is far better. Now, apart from the hip belt, again, most people I see, they don't have much on the front of their pack. If they've got anything there, they might have maybe a water bottle like I've got here, or a couple of small pockets for a phone or something like that, or occasionally pockets on the hip belts. Okay, but generally most of the weight of the pack is in the back. Now, I'm not really keen on that approach because I feel that putting all of the weight behind your back is a bit unnatural in terms of your walking. And once you start putting a lot of weight on your back, it starts to affect your posture, so it pulls you back a bit. You compensate for that by leaning forward, putting weight onto your shoulders, and makes your shoulders sore. So I mean, I'm not a physiologist, so I'm not going to pretend to know how all that works. But I certainly know from my own experience, having a big heavy pack on my back certainly puts a lot of strain on my shoulders, and historically I certainly haven't walked as far as I do now with an ultralight pack and setting things up the way I did. So part of my journey was going to a lighter pack, and initially that had a frame. And then I started experimenting with moving some of the weight forward, and I got that idea primarily from packs in New Zealand. So what I did first off, I had my Ultralight Zpacks pack, and I bought a pocket from Arn, which fitted on the front like this, and I tried that out for a while, and it seemed to work really well. So while I was over in New Zealand, a number of years ago now, I actually bought myself an Arn pack, and this is a Mountain Magic, which is one of the lightest packs they do. I can't remember exactly what capacity is. I think all up, including all the pockets and that, it's around 50 litres or something like that, because these are pretty big pockets on the front. Anyway, I used that for quite a while. I used it for the Larapinta Trail and places like that where I had to carry a lot of weight. And yeah, I found it worked really well on my back. It has a frame to transfer weight. It has frames on the front pockets and also on the back. If you have a look at their website, they talk a lot about the ergonomics and the benefits of bringing weight forward. So they have these big pockets that sit on your front when you're wearing the pack, and they allow you to put bring a lot of weight forward. And I think these are terrific, actually. I mean, I'd certainly recommend them if anyone was looking for this sort of pack. The idea behind it is that you put all the really small, heavy items, like your water bottles, because water's really heavy, camera gear, I suppose, cook gear, any heavy stuff that's small goes in these front pockets, and the lighter stuff, or the less dense things like your sleeping bags and so forth, go in the back pocket. I guess, and there's more to these packs than just just the weight distribution. They have the harnesses are designed to move with your body and all that. I mean, they're very incredibly well thought out packs. But yeah, I just found that there's probably a little bit more volume than I actually needed. I didn't need such big pockets, particularly when I started to go down the ultralight route, and I carried less and less gear, so I didn't need the capacity. And also I wanted to try and get my weight down as low as possible, and having a frame, even a light metal frame like this, and I had to go at replacing it with carbon fibre at one stage, even that adds to the weight, and the material itself is heavy. I mean, it's not as heavy as most packs you see out there, but it's still relatively heavy compared to an ultralight pack. So what I thought I would try and do is to incorporate the same principles into a frameless ultralight pack, and I started with the MLD Burn, which is what I've got here, one of the original Burns, which is a very light pack. I think it's only 400 and something grams. And instead of having these balance pockets on the front, what I did was I put some weight onto the shoulder straps themselves. So I have a camera on this side and another pocket here usually, which is slipped down there for a few bits and pieces. I have a water bottle and a few other items here. And then I have this pouch that I got from Zpacks, which is a chest pouch. And it just kind of sits there in front of me. And I put heavy items in there. So I've got my cook kit in there. I've got my ditty bag. I carry my snacks in there. So when I've got a whole bunch of snacks, I have them in there. The other advantage in this is that by having these things on the front, and if you think about it carefully, what you can do is you can make sure things that you need during the day are easily accessible. So the water bottle, for example, is much more accessible here than it is in one of the side pockets. And snacks, I can get my snacks out of here, and I'm having my camera gear on the front because I'm always pulling the camera out and taking shots, and sometimes I need spare batteries and stuff. So all that stuff being on the front makes it much more accessible and useful during the day. I've got less need to take my pack off. Anyway, that's the idea behind it, and yes, I find it very comfortable. I find that my back, when you have all the weight on the back, it shifts quite easily from side to side, which can throw you off balance, which on a normal trail isn't too bad, but if you're somewhere that's tight or steep, it could get a bit dangerous, if the weight throws you off balance. So having some of that weight forward prevents that from happening. It also gives you a more natural walking stance, so you can be much straighter and walk more the way you're supposed to walk. And I've set this up so that the weight transfers onto my hips as well, so it reduces the load on my shoulders and therefore my spine. So yeah, there are a number of advantages for this. So what I'll do is I'll just go through how I am going to configure my new pack, basically following the template that I've got here. Okay, so very quickly, what I'm going to do is set up the new pack. So pretty much everything on the back is I guess similar to how most people do it. On the front, this is where things get a little bit different. So I have a water bottle pouch. So water bottle pouch on the right hand side. Now the thing I've got on this pocket, which I haven't got on here yet, I've got my torch. So I keep the torch attached to my water bottle pocket. It's a little bit awkward to get on and off, but you don't do that very often, so it's not a problem. So that's just so if I'm walking at in the early morning or at night or something like that, I've got easy access to my torch. I don't have to go searching for it in any bags or anything like that, and I can actually just use it from this position if I want. Just turn it on and search for something in my bag or whatever I need to do. Now I've got this little pocket here which has hand wash, it's got soap, it's got sunscreen, all that sort of stuff. So I've got to transfer that across over onto here for the new pack, or get something different to do the same job. So again, I like to have hand wash and soap really easily accessible, so if there's a toilet break or something, or if I need to wash my hands for any other reason, I've got it up close. So I don't like having to go searching for it through things with dirty hands, you know. I'd rather sort of have it easily accessible. Okay, so that's the right hand side. The left hand side I've already kind of set up. So on the old one I had a little pocket here down the bottom. It was a water bottle pocket, but I was using it for navigation stuff. And I also had my my mounting bracket for my camera, and I've transferred those over. So this is the new pouch from Ultralight gear in the UK, and this really appealed to me, this pouch, because it was nice and small. It wasn't as big as some of these other pockets, and it was nice and light compared to some of the pockets you find. And it has this roll top closure, so no zips or anything to break. So in there I've got my Garmin inReach and my compass. I use a navigational compass, and also any maps and that can go in there as well. And there of course is my camera clip. Okay, so the camera clip's on there. By having the water on one side and keeping it full most of the time, and having the camera there, both shoulder straps have similar weight on them, and it's bringing some of the weight again to the front of the pack. I've got to move all of my content from inside my pack across, but there's nothing particularly unusual about that, just quilts and sleeping pads and all that sort of stuff. But with this Zpacks pack, this chest pack, I think it's called a multi-pack, I have this on the front of me as I'm walking along, and it attaches at the bottom. You can see that okay. It clips to both sides of my waist strap. Okay, like that. And the weight is then on my waist, but of course the top has to be attached to something. So I've got clips that I've added to each shoulder strap, like that. And there's bungee, and so that just holds it in position, so it's not flopping down, but the weight is all on my waist. Okay, so a little bit of weight on the shoulder straps, but most of the weight is on the waist. So I need to fit some of these little clips onto the new pack. I haven't done that yet, but there's places to attach them. So I'll make up some clips similar to what I've got here, with the bungee at the top, and just attach nice and close there on the bottom. And this is what it looks like now with everything in place. So this is from a 100+ kilometre hike that I did recently with the new pack. So hopefully this is useful to other people. As you can see here, if you want to take the pocket off, you can stick it in the back, so it doesn't have to be on your front all the time.